Now, I think a pretty fair question to ask for Star Wars Episode 9 has all to do with exactly who is going to be the couple of the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Is it Kylo Ren and Rey? Is it, of course, Finn and Rey? Poe and Rey, perhaps? A lot of people are asking these questions, and a lot of people are really pretty much curious about exactly what's going to happen with the Star Wars sequel trilogy for these four main characters in the story. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people are really curious about, like I say, is of course the romantic angle in Star Wars. I know some of you guys out there probably also aren't all that interested in that as well, and that's perfectly fine and okay and all. But if you look at both Rey and Kylo Ren, they really are basically the parallel of Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art, and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with one of the set designs that actually involved both Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver. Now, it's described that Adam Driver shot a sequence with Daisy Ridley on board of the Millennium Falcon set, where Daisy was laying on one of the benches in the Millennium Falcon with a blanket over her. It's described that the makeup department had to make her forehead appear bruised. It said that Adam shot a sequence in which he was instructed to have a moment of thought while looking at Rey and kneeling down and gave her a kiss on the cheek before he exited the Falcon against many extras, dressed in armor without helmets, firing blasters at the Falcon. It's implied that Kylo is protecting the Falcon, the last thing that remains of his father Han Solo. It's noted that specifically Adam did not kiss Rey on the lips, but only her cheek, and was said to be very brief. So Adam Driver gave a kiss to Daisy Ridley while she was basically recuperating inside the Millennium Falcon with a bruise on her head. Now, could this very well connect to the injured Rey sequence that we heard about not too long ago? It most definitely probably does. Now, this is the thing here. This is most definitely another reylo sequence that we are actually learning more and more about in Episode 9. Now, like I say, they did not kiss on the lips, so this is really bringing up a big discussion right now, and a lot of people are starting to talk about reylo in Episode 9, and whether or not it's a great direction or not. So, how he didn't kiss her on the lips, could that very well be a way for Disney and Lucasfilm in order to bring in the concept of reylo and basically recreate the moments from the original trilogy where you have this romantic angle between both Luke and Leia slightly in The Empire Strikes Back and in A New Hope, where you eventually find out that they are brother and sister in, of course, Return of the Jedi. Are they going to pull off a similar thing in, of course, the sequel trilogy, where you will have those reylo moments, except they're not going to go full-on romance between the two, to the point where there's no turning back of them being brother and sister? Is that a possibility? That's possible for sure. I'm really trying to figure out as to why Disney and Lucasfilm would basically not have a sequence, as far as we know so far, between both, of course, Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley actually kissing on the lips and just kissing on the cheeks. That's a big question for sure. Now, we do know that if you look at Rogue One, we had that sequence between both Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor. They didn't do anything, they just gave a hug to each other. You could see how Disney and Lucasfilm are trying to steer clear from that whole entire side of Star Wars. So going into Episode 9 now, we do know that, Daisy Ridley and John Boyega have said and expressed before in the past that Finn and Rey are just friends. So that does bring up another question. Does that further confirm that reylo is really going to be a major thing in Episode 9 in the third act of this movie? Now, additionally, they're both within the set piece of the Millennium Falcon, where Adam Driver was instructed to actually defend the Millennium Falcon against, of course, other characters portrayed by extras dressed up in armor using blasters to fire at the Millennium Falcon, and it's implied that Adam Driver is trying to protect, Kylo Ren is trying to protect the last thing that remains of his own father, Han Solo. Like I say, could this very well be, once again, yet another hint of redemption and or a redemption arc for the character of Kylo Ren? It most certainly seems so now, right? We do know that this movie is going to be full of surprises, and that the ending of this movie is going to be rather unpredictable, and an ending that we have never seen before in a Star Wars film to date by JJ. And that, to me, I think is something that's really fascinating me about this movie. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there are probably not going to like the news of, Adam Driver having a kissing sequence with Daisy Ridley on the cheek, but like I say, it's not on the lips, so for all we know, they really could just be brother and sister. If you think about it, they really could be. Now, I don't know if they'll go that far to making them brother and sister, because that's kind of like copying what we already saw in the original trilogy, and I'm not quite sure if a lot of people would really accept that. Screen time together is going to be something that we have never seen in a Star Wars film to date, and that honestly I think is pointing to something very unique and something more around the lines of a mixture of a romance and, of course, a rivalry between the two that's actually going to be quite unique. So what do you guys think about this whole entire sequence where Adam Driver was basically protecting the Millennium Falcon from, of course, a group of extras wearing these sets of armor using blasters, and Adam Driver was implied to actually be saving the Falcon and protecting what his father actually once owned decades ago? Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.